You usually take the Key Bridge. You'll need to find a new route this morning. The Baltimore Harbor Tunnel and the Fort McHenry Tunnel are your alternate routes to get across the Patapsco River. Be mindful, though, a lot more people than usual will likely be using these same routes. You're looking live right now at that Francis Keycott Bridge collapse in the Patapsco River. It is right now in the area. We'll continue to keep you updated as we follow this collapse. We'll be right back. All right, we're coming to you early this morning with breaking news here. Take a look at your screen. The Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsing into the Patapsco River around 1:30 this morning. We've got several reports in that vehicles fell into the water. That is a plural word. Search and rescue efforts are underway and ongoing for at least 7 people they say they are searching for.
Well, we want to take you live to the scene right now where Fox 45 was one of the first stations to arrive. Stay with us. We have exclusive live team coverage all morning long with live team coverage to come and just unbelievable images as that sun comes up here today. Look at that.
That's right, Megan. And a lot of images have continued to pour into our newsroom as we get a better look at the incident that took place here. You can see right here that container that barreled into the Francis Scott Key Bridge, into the beams, the base of the bridge in the water this morning. Another look here from another vantage point, courtesy of Yulee. This is the bridge that is left. You can see the broken beams and the metal frame just dismantled here as those as these safety cones continue up the bridge. But let's take a look at another image here that's come in closer of the ship. You can see the Dolly. This is the ship that was involved in this incident. We know it's a Singapore-based container ship, and more images continuing to come in. This is that one we've been continuing to see throughout the morning, but this is sped up. I want to show you guys this because you can see that ship coming in here from the right-hand side. You can see that it has power. This is a fast shot, and as it gets close, it'll begin to lose power. So slowly here, you can see it goes dark. You can see that it goes dark as it continues to move. This is sped up. You can see the cars on top. They're going through. Power comes back on here. Boom. Power comes back on. You can see a plume of smoke start to billow from the top of the container ship before it even strikes that pillar. Boom, hits the pillar. Power loss once again. And this is when everything begins to change. You can see it just completely loses motion, really control, it seems. And the ship hits the pillar, the beams come down, the frame comes down into the water. This is the landmark that is no longer standing, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, up since 1977. And continuing our coverage this morning with the latest information as we continue to see how this unfolded. It's just incredible, Megan.
It really is. And looking at the boat and the lights on and off, bringing new questions as to what happened before that crash. Taking you live now just off the bridge there this morning. Another news conference about to get underway. We heard one a while ago with emergency crews. Let's listen into this one.
We're about to give you an update at our first Unified Joint Command news briefing at the Key Bridge, I-695 in Baltimore, Maryland. I am going to introduce to you our Maryland Secretary of Transportation, Paul Wiedefeld. It's spelled P-A-U-L, Wiedefeld, W-I-E-D-E-F-E-L-D. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. At approximately 1:30 a.m., a cargo ship leaving the Port of Baltimore struck the Francis Scott Key Bridge. This caused a catastrophic collapse of the bridge. First responders from the Maryland Transportation Authority, the Toll Authority, and our federal, state, and local partners immediately responded to the scene. At this time, this is an active search and rescue mission. We know there were individuals on the bridge at the time of the collapse working on the bridge, contractors for us. Our partners from the U.S. Coast Guard will provide some more information momentarily. In terms of traffic, drivers should avoid I-695 Southeast Corridor and use I-95 and I-895 as alternatives. I-695 is being detoured southbound at exit 43, the Peninsula Expressway, and northbound at exit 2, Route 10. Vessel traffic into and out of the Port of Baltimore is suspended until further notice, but the port is still open for truck transactions. Obviously, we're very thankful for the first responders who are carrying out their efforts in these rescues, and that they're doing this all through the night and today. And we're praying, obviously, for everyone's safe return. We'll continue to provide updates to you, the next one being approximately 9:30. With that, I will turn it over to Lieutenant Colonel Palmer from the U.S. Coast Guard.
Good morning. My name is Lieutenant Commander Aaron Palmer from Coast Guard Sector Maryland National Capital Region. I'm the current acting Chief of Response for the sector. The Coast Guard's primary mission right now is search and rescue, looking for any survivors in the water. On scene, we currently have 3 small boats. We also have Coast Guard Cutter Mako, an 87-foot patrol boat. We have a helicopter from Air Station Atlantic City, and we're working with numerous federal, state, and local partners on scene on these search and rescue efforts. Thank you.
Be glad to take any questions you have at this time.
What role is the FBI playing in the investigation at this time?
FBI has basically to see if there's any terrorism connection, which there is not. No confirmed fatalities.
Any recovered from the water alive?
That's still under, still the rescue mission is still
Do
active.
you have any sense of what happened to the actual cargo ship? There were some reports that it suffered some major power outages just before it crashed into the
Too early in the investigation.
Was a pilot operating the ship coming in and out of the port? Was it a port's authorized pilot, or was it the captain of the ship?
No, the pilots move ships in and out of the Port of Baltimore.
What's happening?
Pilots move ships in and out of Baltimore.
What's happening to all the other ships that are waiting the backup at this point? How are you navigating that?
Basically, we're communicating with them. They obviously understand the situation, and we'll deal with the logistics of that later.
Has the crew been evacuated from the ship, and has the Coast Guard been able to make contact with the pilot on the ship?
That's all being done right now. I don't know the exact details of where they all are, but yes, obviously we're contacting them.
Is this being investigated as suspicious?
FBI, in any type of incident like this, the FBI would be engaged just to make sure, and that's what they did.
And you have an idea how many vehicles are in the water?
Can you just any idea how could this happen? This bridge
Too early.
should not have collapsed like this.
Too early investigation.
Oh, could you
How long will the port be closed?
Do you know how deep the water is there and in sort of this area where it happened, the conditions?
Approximately 50 feet. 50 feet.
How many people are you looking for right now?
How many people were rescued? How many were pulled from the water? How many are still searching for?
That is what we're doing. We're basically searching for everyone that was potentially on the bridge. As you can imagine, it's the middle of the night. You know what type of traffic was there, how many workers were there. Workers, they obviously come to a project, but other workers show up sometimes. So that's what we're investigating right now.
Is this unprecedented? Is anything like this ever happened?
Not in Baltimore.
Sir, can you talk more about the workers on the bridge, what was going on, and how many vehicles you think might actually be in the water?
They were basically doing some concrete deck repair. We don't have the number of the
Do we
vehicles.
know who they work for?
I don't have that right offhand.
How long will the port be closed?
Too early to determine.
Are you still looking for 7 people?
A number of people. That's the one number that we've had, but obviously we're researching to see if anyone else was on that bridge.
Can you speak to some of the challenges, the freezing water, the current, the darkness this morning as you were searching for individuals?
All of the above, to be frank. It's, a very, very tough situation. 1 a.m. in the morning. Very little information at that time. It happened instantaneously, as you've seen.
Sir, it's been a number of hours at this point. What can you tell family members who might be watching about any hope that you will still recover survivors?
We actually have set up a facility for any family members. We have mental health professionals there as well, so we are dealing with that.
And are you ruling out any kind of intentional motive?
We don't see anything that relates to that at this time. It's an open investigation, but there's nothing that points to that in any direction.
First calls after the incident come in directly from the ship. When the ship hit there, who were the first ones to make the 911 calls to kind of alert you?
I don't know. I don't have that information.
Do you have any indication whether the ship lost power?
It's too early.
And just for clarification,
I'm sorry.
Last question,
yeah.
please.
port is closed except for trucks moving transport out.
Right. Okay. And we'll be back surely about 9:30. I'm sorry.
This bridge is built in the 19s. It took about 5 years to construct it, right? Any idea what we can expect moving forward? I mean, the bridge
Too early. Obviously, we reached out to a number of engineering companies, and so obviously we have a long road in front of us to get to that point. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can you tell us where family members
Another news conference, the second this morning, addressing the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse here. Just heard from the Coast Guard and from MDOT. Coast Guard saying they're searching by water, by air, an active search and rescue mission underway. MDOT talking about the detours in place and the investigation now underway.
That's right. The federal partners are involved in this. The FBI is investigating. They're saying there seems to be no terrorism threat from this, but it's just too early. You could hear from Paul Wakefield, the transportation secretary, very conservative in his responses as they continue the search and rescue effort.
We did see the power outage on that boat that you pulled up on the smartboard over there, a reporter asking about that, kind of leading to questions as to what was going on that ship before it crashed in. Too early in the investigation. And while there are so many questions as to what caused what you are looking at live there from our Sinclair sister station chopper there, the main thing right now is that search and rescue operation that's underway. 7 unaccounted for here this morning. And what we heard from in an earlier news conference is that sonar did detect some vehicles, plural, underwater, making you believe that this mission is one for dive teams.
That's right. And they have 3 boats in the water right now, according to Transportation Secretary. And they've got sonar in there, vehicles that they're looking for. It really means they're up against not only the weather, the time, the span of the area that they have to search to try to find these people. And 7 is a rough estimate, right? They just don't know yet. And that's a lot of what we're hearing now is that if you look at these extraordinary images, just so much to learn and a lot of investigating that has to take place in recovery efforts, number one.
For so many Baltimore residents, just looking at these images, it's chilling, shocking what we're seeing here this morning. Much more live coverage coming up right after the break.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Welcome back to Fox 45 Morning News on this Tuesday, March 26th. I'm Megan Gillen.
I'm Taylor Stewart. Well, there's a lot to talk about this morning. We are covering that breaking news of the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsing.
What was in progress was a multi-jurisdictional response to a disaster, basically.
Like you said, unbelievable. I mean, in shock, really. I mean, it's like, is this a movie?
Right.
And whatnot. I mean, it's like I say, it's a major artery, and it's really going to affect not only traffic but the port.
We were awakened with what appeared to be an earthquake and a long rolling sound of thunder.
Wow.
So we woke up and literally we can look right out of our bedroom window and see the Key Bridge, but I couldn't see anything because of the darkness. And a little bit later, got up again to check, and I saw some emergency lights in the area. And
you're listening to updates and reaction to that breaking news from this morning. The Francis Scott Key Bridge, a Maryland landmark, collapsing right into the Patapsco River around 1:30 this morning. It was hit by a cargo ship you see on the left hand of your screen. And just under an hour ago, Baltimore fire officials confirmed search and rescue operations are ongoing for at least 7 people that remain unaccounted for. 2 others were rescued, one taken to the hospital with serious conditions, another person not even wanting medical attention. So we'll continue to keep that updated.
A chilling shot right here. This is taking you live to what is left of the Key Bridge this morning from our cameras here. This is from the chopper actually right there on the right-hand side, the harbor on the left. Just unbelievable images of what's left there. Take a look at these too. Some devastating images of the Key Bridge from earlier this morning. As you can see, the bridge ended up just completely submerged in the water there. At that point in the morning, it was difficult to see the damage. Right now, though, my goodness, the full scale of the incident becoming clear as you see most of that bridge just completely submerged and that container ship still just stuck into the side of it.
Now, Fox 45 News has learned that the ship that struck the Key Bridge was a Singapore-based container ship called Dolly. It is nearly 1,000 feet long. It arrived in Baltimore 3 days ago. According to the vesselfinder.com leaders, they say that they left the port around 1 o'clock this morning, and then around 1:25, maritime traffic data shows the ship suddenly diverted from its course and then began to slow down. Around this time, video shows that all the lights were on for the exterior portion of the ship. Then they suddenly turned off. Smoke began emanating from the ship. The Dolly then hit a portion of the bridge around 1:28. That's when we started to see that collapse.
My goodness, we have live team coverage for you this morning on the breaking news overnight of the Francis Scott Key Bridge falling into the Patapsco.
In just a few minutes, Olivia Dance will be live from the western side of the bridge, but we're going to start with Shannon Lilly, who's on the eastern side in Dundalk. Shannon.
Yeah, good morning, Taylor and Megan. It is still too early to tell at this point. We're hearing what exactly caused this ship to collide with this bridge, but the aftermath of this is certainly clear and on full display where we are now that the light is up, the sun is up, and you can truly see where that bridge just split in half. We were just hearing from Paul Wiedefield, the Secretary of Maryland Department of Transportation, and he's reiterating that an active search and rescue is underway, and that is their main focus right now. We know that the Coast Guard is involved in this search and rescue, that they have several ships or boats that they're using in this mission, and they also have a helicopter that they're using to try to find people. We heard from the Baltimore Fire Department earlier that seven people right now are unaccounted for. They're at least looking for 7 people in this search and rescue mission, and so that is truly the main focus this morning. But of course, a lot more to come out of this. We do expect to get another update in just an hour and a half or so, around 9. And so, of course, when we get more information, we'll bring that to you. There wasn't too much that was revealed in this most recent press conference because they're still trying to sort through this. Again, many of these authorities were awoken from their beds, just like we were, to this incredible, terrifying news, something that we've never seen here before, truly unprecedented. And as you're looking live at the aftermath of this bridge that is just absolutely collapsed. This is a way that many people commute, and it's no more. And so really just taking that in this morning. And again, the main thing is searching for the people who are still unaccounted for. And of course, our thoughts and prayers go out to all the families impacted by this, but we do hope to get more information soon, hopefully around 9 or 9:30. And when we get that information, we'll bring it to you right here. Megan and Taylor, back to you.
All right, Shannon, we thank you for that. And we also agree it's about the search and rescue efforts underway right now, but certainly a lot of questions still as to how this could have happened. We heard about the FBI being involved in this. Dr. Tyrone Powers is a former FBI agent. He is joining us live now with some insight as to why the FBI would have been called, why they would have been looking into this. Dr. Powers, first of all, good morning. Thank you for joining us. I know as someone who's been in this area for quite some time, these images are shocking. We've had to look over it and pinch ourselves to believe it's real.
Yeah, they are shocking. Good morning. Thank you for having me on. If there's a silver lining to what's going on right now, it's that post 9/11 and the terrorist attack, all the agencies have kind of fused their efforts. That's why you saw the massive response and how quickly they responded. So the FBI are watching the waterways, the airways, because we're always under alert for terrorist incidents. Homeland Security are always watching these incidents. So wherever they occur, whenever they occur, and wherever they occur, they're ready for a coordinated effort to go make sure there isn't terrorism, to get rescue people out there. They've also been multi-jurisdictional training. So when you see Baltimore County and Baltimore City and Anne Arundel County and the Coast Guard come together so quickly, and there's no conversation about who's in charge of what, who's handling what, it is because we have kind of prepared ourselves for this kind of situation, thinking that there may be some kind of terrorist attack on the waterways or in the airways.
Dr.
And that's
Powers,
why you can move out so quickly.
So this is not unusual that the FBI would have been called in early this morning to take a look at this.
No, it's part of the protocol now with Homeland Security and the FBI. When you have a major incident like this, whether it's a bridge or a tunnel or something in an airport or an airway, if a plane comes off the runway in a different way, they're prepared to deal with this because of that history. So they're involved. Then the other thing that's important about that, Megan, is that they bring all their resources to the table.
Right.
Even though it's a rescue issue, they bring all their resources to the table immediately, not waiting, not not waiting to get permission from the director or the president or the vice president. We passed all of that. We passed that threshold after 9/11.
Dr. Powers, first of all, the images we're seeing on the left-hand side of our screen are from our chopper, our Sinclair sister station chopper there. Just unbelievable when you look at the situation that's unfolding right now. I think it was concerning at first to hear the FBI was involved, and then surprising that we got an answer so quickly that they ruled terrorism was not involved. Is that unusual? Now we know that it's normal for them to investigate, to have a decision so quickly and an answer. Is that usual?
No, because they monitor with Homeland Security, with the Coast Guard, they monitor the shipping lanes, so they are automatically being able to tell whether that ship was in the right place at the right time, who's on that ship. Getting a manifesto is relatively easy now because they all have to report that. Remember now, post 9/11, whenever ships go into port, any ports in the United States, they have to report that they're on the way. They have to get clearance, and they have to get clearance on the way out. So they already know that this ship has been cleared. They know what's on the ship. They know the direction, and they're able to respond in the manner in which you see and come up with an answer relatively quickly. It doesn't mean that they're still not doing some investigation, because there may be some kind of criminal investigation going on, but the ideal of terrorism, they're able to rule out relatively quickly.
That's a good point. What is next in the investigation for the FBI? Do they tag along to keep looking into what might have happened here?
Yes, because there could be some federal violation or some criminal investigation, so they will assign an agent to it. It won't be necessarily from the counterterrorism team or the terrorism task force that we've seen respond to these incidents, but they will continue to monitor conditions. They will continue to work with state, local, federal authorities, the Coast Guard, to look into what happened here, but not in the mode that they have to deploy certain elements, which they have, like the HRT team, which is at Quantico, Virginia, because there may have been a terrorist incident. So the response will be different, but they still will be present.
Grateful that we can at least rule that at this point. Dr. Powers, we appreciate your expertise and your knowledge on this. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
You too. Well, stay with us. We are going to continue to follow the very latest on the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsing. Another live look, a different perspective there from a little farther where you can see what's left of that bridge. At 9:30, we are expecting another news conference from officials to hear how things are going. Again, high tide right now as those dive teams are searching for 7 unaccounted for.
And still ahead, more on the collapse that happened this morning at the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Stay with us for updates on the emergency response, rescue efforts, alternate traffic routes, and live coverage reports. This morning, we're continuing to follow that breaking news of the Key Bridge collapsing right into the Patapsco River around 1:30 this morning. You're looking at video of those very incidents as a cargo ship crashes into the base of the bridge, causing it to fall in the water.
So here's what's left. This is a live look of the Key Bridge as the sun comes up, and we can get a clear indication as what is left of it. You can see on the left-hand side the aerial shot from our Sinclair sister station chopper. You see the cargo ship that crashed into the bridge. You see that entire section now completely submerged. On the right-hand side, you're taking a look at the eastern and western parts as you get on and off the bridge right there where the barricades are set up and where emergency crews have been setting up news conferences. We are expecting another one at 9:30 this morning as a very active search and rescue operation is underway.
And we continue to bring you the latest developments on what we're learning about search and rescue efforts after this collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. This Maryland landmark is now down, and we've got your latest updates here on Fox 45 Morning News. All local, all morning.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
Right now, search and rescue efforts are underway after a cargo ship crashes into the Francis Scott Key Bridge overnight. This morning, that structure is in the Patapsco River.
Olivia Dance is there right now. She's at one of the closest spots we can get to. Olivia, what are you seeing? What are you learning? What is the latest information?
Yeah, Megan and Taylor, really just a devastating situation. This is as close as we can get, as you mentioned. This is Fort Armistead Road right here. The Key Bridge is just about a mile up this way past us here, and we've only been seeing first responders, a steady flow of them coming in and out of this roadway. We did see the governor's vehicles, and he was being escorted by several police officers as well. They just drove by, and he's heading up towards the Key Bridge, from what I've been told. But really, as you guys mentioned, the focus right now is on this search and rescue. So about an hour ago, we got an update from the Baltimore city officials and Baltimore County officials, and they told us that they are currently looking for upwards of 7 individuals. They could not give us a specific number, but they said upwards of 7. They also told us that 2 people were removed from the water. 1 individual was miraculously not injured and refused medical transport. The other is in serious condition. So, of course, hoping that they will be okay, as well as everyone else involved in this. I'll tell you, it's been quite emotional morning as well. There were several family members here earlier this morning who were crying and upset. They said that they have a loved one who they believe was on the Key Bridge during the collapse that they had not been able to get in contact with. So just hearing those stories, speaking with some of those family members, it's been very tragic. And of course, you know, the main focus is on this search and rescue.